What if you could have a true horological masterpiece that still measures your heart rate like an Apple Watch? Well, thanks to JLC's new release, now you can. JLC are here again to compete in the highly competitive steel chronograph market, and thanks to one very simple refinement, it makes this new watch a heavy hitter. JLC has introduced a new model to its Master Control Chronograph Calendar collection. It's a steel model this time, with a new and rather beautiful two-tone blue sunray dial. The Master Control range has been around for a little while now, since 1992 to be exact, taking direct inspiration from the 1950s JLCs that we used to see, but none in my opinion have looked quite as good as this. This new variant sports a blue dial with a sunray brushed finish. It has a pulsometer on the outer track, red details on the subdials, a beautifully finished moon phase, and of course a day, date and month indicator. I really like the pulsometer personally. I think it's a very nice tribute to the pulsometers that we've seen from the likes of JLC, Vacheron and Rolex in the past. I feel it also sets it apart from the multitude of racing inspired chronographs that we see with tachymeter scales. It gives the impression that the owner of this isn't pretending to track 0 to 60 times while sat in a high-rise office block, but more of a doctor's feel. A doctor sat in an office measuring a patient's heartbeat. I know what you're thinking. This isn't exactly practical to be tracking my heartbeat while I go and die on a park run, so maybe the Apple Watch will stay. But just like many features in the watch world, it's nice and it's cool to know that if I wanted to, I could. The case measures in at a rather bulky 40mm with a case depth of 12mm, and it is also water resistant to 50 meters. That's not a sporty diver's depth, but enough so you don't have to worry when washing your hands. The in-house automatic 759 caliber can be seen through the open caseback. Its finishing and execution is rather traditional and simple compared to some of the other JLC movements we've looked at recently, such as the Duomet, but it's still incredibly well done and very attractive in the typical manner we have come to expect from JLC. And the movement is more visible thanks to the skeletonized gold rotor. This is basically JLC's 751 caliber with a calendar module added on top. That means it's a column wheel vertical clutch chronograph movement. Now, this new model has an RRP of 18,300 with a complimentary leather strap thrown in to soften the blow. Let's deal in facts for just a second. That is a lot of dough for a steel chronograph. Now, comparing that to some other watches from some other brands such as Omega, and a certain steel chronograph that comes from a brand that begins in R and ends in Olex, it's certainly not the cheapest kid on the block. But is the price justified? After Josh and I were left thinking about this for a little while, we found it particularly difficult to identify a clear competitor for this watch. The closest watch that came across our minds was in fact the Zenith Chronomaster Original. Before I get into this, insulting a Zenith on camera is a bit like insulting someone's mother. A lot of watch fans will run to the comments with pitchforks demanding that we are immediately cancelled. But just hear me out for a minute. Can we really say that the Zenith is finished to the high quality, hand-finished standards that the JLC is? Again, that is no disrespect to the El Primero movement. It's an absolute icon. But the detail on the Master Control is on a completely different level in my opinion. The only two benefits I can think of with the El Primero is you'll save a few quid at purchase and it's a little bit smaller, so tailored to people with vintage tastes like ourselves. If you didn't know, we sell vintage watches over at whatsonwatches.co.uk, so check that out. But in terms of price point, it's a very exciting position for JLC because there isn't much on the market to compete with this watch, and that's why I love it. It's not just another steel chronograph. It's a steel chronograph for those people who want something just a little bit more refined. The calendar complication offers something for those that want more detail, something against the status quo, and I think it does this incredibly well. But this watch should be mentioned more, and it's a shame on us watch nerds for not giving this watch the attention that it deserves. Sure, it'd be great if they refined it down a millimeter, but I'm really glad that JLC have given this watch a new lease of life. We have some very exciting projects lined up with JLC for 2024. So if you're enjoying this JLC series, why not subscribe and drop the video a like? And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.